The thing that annoys me here is that there is no mention on that certificate of surface corrosion or any corrosion to the rear beam. Nothing. And yet somehow they've said the springs are rusty, even though they ain't rusty. Now, you know full well they've got them springs on the shelf. I'm pretty damn sure they ain't got a rear beam on the shelf. Well, hello. Kev Knight here from Vision Prestige. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming back. Hope you're doing well. So, today, it's a lovely Saturday afternoon. The sun's out. It's nice and warm. I think winter's gone. Good times. It's good car cleaning weather. It's lovely to be outside. And today is going to be about this little Fiat 500 here. Now, hold on. I've got to move that broom. Hold on. That's going to annoy me. Hold on. I feel better now. So, for any of you lovely bright-eyed and bushy-tailed subscribers, you may recognise this little car from very early stages on of the channel. This is Holly's little Fiat 500, which we supplied almost 2 years ago to her. It was her first little car. She absolutely loved it. It's done everything that a first little car should do. She didn't even want to see it go when we picked it up, because she's got a new job. She's bought a new little Mini. She wanted something a little bit more solid because she's doing a lot more miles now. And that's completely understandable. You know, Fiat 500s, they've got their place in the market. They are cheap, and they sort of, as well as they drive, they do feel like a cheap car. There's no getting away from it. They are cheap. But that isn't what this little video is about, because no matter how much you try and put these little cars down, they have 100% got their little place in the market. You know, Claire's never driven one before. She just drove this when we picked it up, and even, Claire's like, I can't believe how well that little car drives. They do drive very well. Little bit of a background about this now. So Claire went to pick up little Mia from school a couple of days ago, literally a couple of days ago, and Holly's mum's dad just happened to mention that Holly was going to get rid of the little Fiat 500. Did we want to buy it back? And Claire just sent me a message saying, Holly's selling the little Fiat 500, do you want to buy it back? And I just said yes. You know, we knew it was a lovely car when we sold it to her. We got it from Dale, if you saw that video. And I said, well, as long as it isn't covered in dents and stuff, we know it's a nice car. We know it's had a cam belt. We know it's got nice history. We know it had Michelin tyres all round because it was really well looked after before she bought it. So yeah, we'd buy it back 100%. So we bought it back. We didn't necessarily, it's been really busy here. We didn't necessarily do our due diligence perfectly, maybe. It's a 1.2 Popstar, so it hasn't got the roof that a Lounge has got, and it hasn't got the Blue and Me phone in it. But Holly has had an aftermarket head unit put in it with the little vents and stuff, so it almost looked factory. So now it's got Apple CarPlay and Bluetooth and stuff like that in it. So the car isn't what this video is about. Well, it sort of is, but it's not actually. I just wanted to give you a little bit of background so you knew about the car and why it's here. So what we actually did, we went and picked the car up. We got it back here, and I was just ruffling through the paperwork because I knew that we serviced it just before we sold it. So I knew it didn't need a belt. I didn't know. I mean, like, we sold it June, nearly 2 years ago. I think we sold it with 61 on it. It's now done 67. So mileage wise, it doesn't need a service, but it should have had one. It hasn't had one, so we've got to service it again. But I was just looking through the paperwork, and then I stumbled across the MOT certificate for it from May, you know, which is 2 months away as far as the next May goes. So it was last May, and I was just absolutely blown away. But it's like the MOT tester has tried to write a second edition of War and Peace on the advisories, and you just think, my God. So we're going to get into this, and we're going to look into this. Because as a salesman or a car selling business owner, whatever you want to call us, MOT advisories are a proper pain. But they're only a pain when you're either not willing to do something, or the person that doesn't know what the advisories are mean. As in, you know, you get MOT testers that put seal covers on cars, unable to inspect seals. We get phone calls all the time. Are the seals rusty? No, the car's 4 years old. That's just what, you know, old school MOT testers do. Engine covers, unable to see. We get it all the time. And it sort of annoys you because there's no need to put that advisory on there. But old school MOT testers feel that they need to cover their own butt. It gets very annoying. And if you're an MOT tester and you're watching this video and you want to comment and say, Kev, you're wrong, I have to do that, because it's fine. Comment, I would like to know why you still do that. But as far as a few of them on this go, we need to go a little bit in depth. So what I want to do, I'm going to pull that in the workshop. I'll get the I'll get the Red 1 Series out of there. I don't know if you've seen the video on that or if that's, but I'll quickly pull that out because that hasn't got any interior in at the minute because it filled up with water. And then we'll get that in and we're going to elaborate a little bit further on this. Horrible sense of deja vu. I've done this before. Here we are, we're in the workshop and we're going to get to the good stuff now. Now, understandably, the names, rightly or wrongly, the name of this MOT test station have been blanked out. Now, and they've been blanked out because, one, because I don't want to get sued for libel or anything random like that. But just so you know, this car was MOT'd at what can only be described as a large chain tyre and exhaust centre. That's exactly what it was. It's a tyre and exhaust centre and that's where it went. Now, we know the history of this car from about 2019 because that's when Dale sold it to his customer, maybe 2018. And all of the MOT history has been clear. The only two MOT advisories this car ever got was for rear tyres in 2021, which is when them Michelins were fitted. Now, after that, so before that was completely clear. And then after that, a year after we sold it to Holly, this happened. Now this was in May, 30th of May 24, so nearly a year ago. And this is sort of what we were greeted with and surprised with when we picked up the car. Now, the last MOT, so this is a year after we sold it, it failed on indicator bulbs, had lost a bit of colour. That's sort of understandable, you know, if they were hot and they may have faded, that one's fine. But the rest of the stuff, you look at it and you think, Christ, the exhaust is leaking, the suspension's knackered, the rear suspension's knackered, the tyres are knackered. That's enough to make you think, I need to sell this car. Or that's £1,000 worth of work, or sort of all of the above really. But what sort of niggles me, if I saw that a year after I bought this car, I think we sold it, I can't remember the exact mileage, I have to have a look, we sold it with 60 or 61 on it, so say 4,000 miles later, you'd be thinking, well, that car's had a dodgy MOT on it before I bought it, because how has all this just appeared? That is my biggest quibble here. And that's a big one for me. Now, if you're a subscriber, if you've seen the channel before, you know how me and Claire work. You know that we do not sell cars like that, and we don't do things like that, and we haven't got some dodgy MOT tester. We don't do that. Yes, we know a lot of people do. We also know that, which is a problem in this trade. We know that, and the reputation, we know that, but that's not what we do. So what I'm doing this video on here really now is for you to comment and let us know what your view is, what your experiences with this sort of thing have been, because this is what I want to do. So because it's easier, we'll go from the bottom, mainly because tyre slightly cracked, perishing near side rear, that's that one. Offside rear, that's the other one. So this was in May, so this was nearly a year ago. Now, I know these tyres haven't moved, and I know they haven't moved because they were on the car when we sold it. And not only that, they are still stamped, hold on, they are still stamped 15/21, so that is the 15th week of 2021, these tyres were made. So they have to have been put on after that. Now, if you have a look at the tyres, can you see any crack in there? No, you can't. If I... Hold on. Let me get my light. Let me put my light on. The back of the tyre. Can you see any crack in there? No. There isn't any cracks on these tyres. And the thing that sort of concerns me, these tyre and exhaust centres, you know they've got tyres on the shelf for this car. Now before we get underneath it to have a look further, I just want to put a picture, if I haven't already, of what Holly looks like, probably from the thumbnail of the last video that we put out when she bought this car. Because if you were to look at her, she, without sounding like a sexist pig, she's pretty much the epitome of a young female that an MOT tester or an MOT centre could potentially take advantage of, thinking, oh, look at her in her little spearmint green Fiat 500, you know, her dad's going to be paying everything or something like that. It still goes on. We know it still goes on. If you're watching this video and you're thinking, Kev, especially if you're a girly and you're thinking, Kev, you don't sound like a sexist pig because this happened to me, please comment down below because I want to know about this. But the way I see it, everything on that list is something that place would have had on the shelf, especially for Fiat 500s. I'm going to confirm this now when we go underneath it. I'll just put my board on the floor so you can come under here with me. We'll put my light on the floor and we'll just have a look at that list again, just so you can see. Right, coil spring corroded near side rear, coil spring corroded offside rear. So they're not slightly corroded or surface corrosion, they are corroded, the spring. Now, I've seen the invoice for the indicator bulbs on here. That's all Holly had done. Ugh, getting old. Right, so as you can see, that is the rear spring. Still the original spring from factory, still got the original yellow blob on it. And from what I can see, there isn't any rust on it. There is, however, rust on the rear beam. Now, this car is 10 years old. There's going to be rust on the rear beam because it's made of steel and it's been underneath subject to salt and everything for the last 10 winters. And the thing that I get, I mean, the exhaust is rusty as well. It's still solid, but it's just surface rust because that's made of steel as well. The thing that annoys me here is that there is no mention on that certificate of surface corrosion or any corrosion to the rear beam. Nothing. And yet somehow they've said the springs are rusty, even though they ain't rusty. Now, you know full well they've got them springs on the shelf. I'm pretty damn sure they ain't got a rear beam on the shelf. So the thing is, it's sort of made our job really hard with this car, because anyone in this day and age... Let's go outside, it's a bit nicer outside, might stop them lights from flashing. Are them lights flashing? Don't know why it does that. As far as our position now goes on this little car, it leaves us in a bit of a muddle, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't need rear tyres and it definitely don't need rear springs. But anyone that is going to inquire on this car, most people, the first thing that they do is go on the MOT history and have a look to see how that car has been looked after. And if you now look at this one, you're going to think, my God, look at all of them. So you're going to do two things here. You're going to either not going to phone up about that car at all, because it's put you off, or with the joys of editing and the fact that the little Fiat 500 is now back from MOT, we're going to go underneath it in a minute, but other than not phoning up at all, this is potentially how that situation would probably go by someone inquiring on that little car.
Oh, all I want is a mint green one. Oh, Alfie, look, it's the one! It's the one! Come on! Come on, look, it's the one! It's the one! What? Come sit down. We'll have a look. It's quite exciting.
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? Let's have a look and see. And then we can do a MOT. If we do the MOT history, we can see what it's had previously and if it's needed anything. Look. Oh no, that isn't a good one. On its last MOT, it needed springs and tyres. No, maybe we should leave that.
Oh, but Mum, can't we just phone up and see? Right, where are we going to go, Alfie?
Okay, let's phone up and see.
Vision Prestige, Kevin speaking.
Hello, I'm just phoning about the Fiat 500 and I just wondered if it was still for sale, please.
Claire? Why are you phoning me up about the Fiat 500?
Kev, you told me to ring you and pretend I was asking about the Fiat 500, remember?
Oh, do it again, do it. I'll make myself look really busy. Do it again, do it again. Vision Prestige, Kevin speaking.
Hi, I'm just phoning about the Fiat 500 and I wondered if it was still for sale, please.
The little spearmint green one? Yeah, still here.
Yeah, I noticed on the MOT history that there was quite a lot of advisories. And I just wonder if they had been done, please.
Yeah, about what the MOTs, about the springs and stuff. Well, to be honest, we know that little car. It's a lovely little car. And we put it through to our MOT guy and he said there was nothing wrong with them. So we didn't replace them.
Oh, so why were they advised then if there was nothing wrong with them?
I think it was just, I don't know, I think it was just like an over fussy MOT tester. That I don't know, but they didn't need doing, so we didn't replace them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll have a word with my daughter and then I'll get back to you.
Okie doke. No worries at all. Well, thanks for the call. If you want to come and have a little road test, then just let us know. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, that's a sale, isn't it? That's a sale. Come on.
Sounds like a little bit dodgy because it's saying it needed springs, but they haven't done them because they don't think they need doing. Oh, wow.
So really, that's exactly how that phone call would have gone. So what we've done, we'll have a look in the back in a minute, but what we've had to replace the springs on the back of this car because that discussion couldn't go any other way from someone inquiring to us who doesn't know us. The only way to get out of that situation was to say, yep, we've replaced the springs, no problem at all. But you saw the springs, you saw there was nothing wrong with them. It's now got new rear springs on it. But I just want to get underneath actually and show you this part here. Hold on, let me go and grab my light. So you remember on the MOT advisory notice, it said about the blowing exhaust. Didn't say that the exhaust was rusty or anything like that, but it did say the exhaust was blowing. And I'm going to admit this one, the exhaust was blowing because that clamp there had pretty much rotted away. You can see the dark soot where it was blowing on the join because that clamp had pretty much rotted away. Now, it's got a new clamp on it because they've put that on there to get it through its MOT with no advisories on it. But as you can see under here, I mean the exhaust, it's bone dry. It's so dry that there's sort of surface rust and everything like that. Fiat 500s always end up with rusty sumps. But it's not just that. The way I see this is that one thing that probably should have been advised on this, because they advised on the rear springs which didn't have rust on them, but they didn't advise on the fact that this exhaust has got surface rust on. I mean, look at it, it's rusty, look at the colour of it, but it's completely rock hard. It's not going to rot away, but it has got rust on it. I mean, listen to that. That's how solid it is, but it's got surface corrosion on it. So you just start thinking, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I know this is a rant and I know I sound a bit negative and I know it's all a bit ranty, but it has annoyed me a little bit on numerous sides of it. I'll quickly show you the fact that we've put new rear springs on it. As you can see, there you go, nice shiny rear springs. I just feel like whoever MOT'd this car has let the car down, and they've sort of let the whole cycle of what we have to do to get a car ready down. Potentially did Holly part exchange this because of them advisories? You know, it's a little bit too much of a coincidence that it needed MOTing in a month and a half and she's bought another car even though she loved that car. I might end up asking them on this situation, but I don't like the fact that it's had advisories on the exhaust probably enough for someone to think, oh, I need to get a new exhaust, but they didn't advise on obvious parts on the exhaust. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I don't get it. Sorry it's a bit negative, sorry it's a bit ranty, but I do want to know if this has happened to other people. So I'll cut back to the other bit of the video now, but at least you know the resulting of the little Fiat 500. We've been underneath it, you know, we couldn't have done it any more in depth. We've serviced it, we've put it through an MOT. No, we haven't replaced the rear springs because there was nothing wrong with them. So you look like a liar straight away because, you know, you're a car salesman at the end of the day. It's just, it's a shame on what is a, you know, what is a great little car with great history. The cam belt's been done and stuff. We know it's a lovely little car. We know it drives really well. I sort of feel like my point has been made. You know, I'm well aware that my videos do go on a little bit, and I need to make them a little bit shorter. So I just sort of like you to comment now if you've had this same sort of experience. Have you had your car taken somewhere and they've pretty much written it off, and then you've taken it somewhere else and they've gone, well, I don't really know why they've said all about this. I just want to know how many people out there you can actually trust. Pretty much. Is it still going on? We know it's still going on. But I don't know. I hope it hasn't been like a negative video. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. But I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching. Give us a comment, give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button if you like what's going on. I'll see you on the next one.